What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here at PackersNews.com, live on Facebook Wednesday afternoon. All is quiet on the Green Bay front, but thought I'd jump on here and see what's on the minds of Packers fans all around this great country and world of ours. Lots of positional previews up at PackersNews.com. Make sure you're checking those out. Wide receivers just went up a little bit ago. That's following the running backs and the quarterback spots. Obviously, we'll be trekking through all the different position groups. I just wrote up tight ends. That'll be up in a day or so. So make sure you're checking those out. Everything you need to know about each and every position, all the battles going on. Lots of good stuff at PackersNews.com. Hello to everybody in the comments. Jeffrey Smith, what's up? Yarden, hello. Terrence, oh, thank you very much. Yes, it was my birthday yesterday. And Brett starts us off with a BJ Raji. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, you don't charge 99 cents for live feeds? Not yet, but that's a good idea. I like getting paid. I like having a salary. It's good things. Feed my children, pay my rent. Less than a week, Tanner. You got that right. Ken, afternoon. Jay, yes, Tony Romo predicted the Packers versus the Jaguars. I mean, this poor guy, he just gives an off-the-cuff prediction on a golf course in July, and the internet explodes with commentary and content. But that's what happens in the middle of the summer. You know, the Packers have as good a shot as anybody at this point. You look at them on paper, they've got Aaron Rodgers back. They've got a lot of weapons on offense. They should be improved on defense. They should be in the thick of it. Now, everybody knows you need the ball to bounce your way a couple times. You need to get a little lucky with injuries. But, you know, as it stands right now, the Packers have as good a shot as anybody making a Super Bowl run. Hello, Joan, what's up? Thanks for joining us. Who is the starting tight end week 1? Could Graham just play wideout? Absolutely, Matthew. I actually just wrote up the tight end position preview, and in it, I say pretty specifically, I would expect to see Graham split out a whole heck of a lot more than playing actual traditional inline tight end. I think you'll see Mercedes Lewis manning that spot quite a bit. You have to think they'll use him in line on the right side, especially early on, to give help to whoever may end up playing in Brian Balaga's stead. But yeah, I do think you're going to see Jimmy Graham split out a whole heck of a lot more than you see him playing in line. Do you think Jimmy Graham will have a good season? Yes, I do. Hearing Joshua Jackson's the #1 rated cornerback right now. Is that Madden? I don't know. Who's doing the rating? Let's hold off and let's see him in pads against NFL dudes before we start talking about where he's rated. Any word on the Aaron Rodgers new contract? No. No, there is not. But I would expect to hear something probably next week. Kevin, what's up, man? Scott, hello. Thanks for joining us, man. Mark, you got that right. Did Burke stand out at all in camp, or was he not there? No, he was there. You know, he's going to be swimming a little bit, learning a new defense, but it's not a question of he stood. You definitely saw the athleticism, but, you know, it's really hard to make any kind of determinations about what kind of player any of these guys are going to be when they're running around in shorts. When are the Packers going to talk about extending Clinton-Dix? Good question. I think they would have to wait until they see how this season starts playing out for him. You know, it didn't take long last year to see that he was having a bit of a down year. I think a month into the season you could see that he had regressed a little bit. I think they'll wait at least till mid-season before they even begin to broach that subject. But a lot of that is going to depend on, you know, how he's playing. And then, heck, you know, if he gets to the end of the year, say late November, early December, he's playing well, he might start thinking, you know, I want to kind of try and hit the market. So, you know, there's a lot of moving parts there. We'll see how things play out over these next couple months. Cobb seems fine. Good news. Kevin, I agree. They just put up a bunch of pictures at PackersNews.com from his 3rd annual football camp. A lot of kids, a lot of running around, including Randall himself. So that would seem to bode well. Mark, Connor Barwin pickup, I tend to doubt it. I think I talked about that last week. It was the headline of one of these videos, but Barwin is a guy that, you know, was available last year. They didn't make a move then. I don't think another year of wear and tear has made him more attractive. Now, you never know. Maybe if injury strikes early in camp, he did say he is looking to catch on with a contender. He's had some offers, but he wants to play for somebody he feels has a chance to win a Super Bowl. Obviously, Green Bay would fit that bill. But I don't think that call gets made unless some injuries strike at that position. Hey, you're not joking wanting to see the punter have a good camp. I mean, you draft a punter in the 5th round, you better be able to boot it and boot it consistently. You know, he hit some big ones in the spring, but that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. Get him in some real situational stuff with a rush. Let's see how he does. Are Beagle and Gilbert the answer? Jacob, the Packers sure seem to think so. They're banking on it. I think they're really counting on Reggie Gilbert continuing to develop. I don't think we really know what they have in Vince Beagle. I don't think they know what they have. You know, we're finally going to get to see him have a full training camp, knock on wood, you know, but if he can stay healthy and continue to develop, those two should be able to at least, you know, offer a little support at the outside linebacker spot. Will there be a second end zone extension at Lambeau Field? Not that I've heard, but I wouldn't put it past them. Any way they can generate that local revenue, everything they do with and around Lambeau Field, remember, that's all money that doesn't have to be shared with the league. And that is the key in today's NFL, is generating local revenue that you don't have to share. That's what the whole point of the redevelopment of Lambeau was back in 2003. That was the whole point of that end zone extension, the whole point of Titletown. It's all generating revenue that the Packers get to keep in-house. Who needs to step up if Matthews or Perry get hurt, Jared? That would be the two gentlemen we were just speaking about. That would be Vince Beagle and Reggie Gilbert. I'd expect Reggie Gilbert to be first up, and I think, judging by what we saw in the 2 games he was active last year, I think, not ready to say he's Lawrence Taylor in his prime, but I do think he is going to flash early and often. James, what's up from Seattle? Do you think Mike Pettine will use the middle linebacker more in creating pressure on the quarterback? Good question, Chase. You know, obviously that would probably involve Blake Martinez quite a little bit, maybe Oren Burks on some passing downs. I do think we'll see a bit more. You know, Capers used to use that cross-dog blitz quite a bit early on in his tenure, but he kind of backed off of it later on. I do think you'll see those guys given a few more opportunities, but I don't think that'll be a featured blitz in Pettine's package. Now, maybe he finds something athletically with those guys that he creates a few more opportunities, but you know, judging by what we've seen on film, both his time here in New York with the Jets and up in Buffalo, I tend to think he's going to want to try and, you know, let those guys get after it up front prior to using too many extensive blitz packages with the middle linebackers. What about Jake Ryan? Thomas, I think he's going to be, his playing time will be very dependent on who they're facing. I think if they're, you know, facing a team with an offense that, you know, they like to button it up, play 2 tight ends, run a lot of power, I think you're going to see a lot more Jake Ryan. If they are playing someone who likes to spread it out and throw it all over the yard, I think you're going to see a lot less of him. Who is your favorite color commentary to watch/listen? Ooh, that's a good question, Andrew. Currently on television, probably the Sunday night guys. I love Al Michaels. I used to like Chris Collinsworth a lot more than I do more recently. But yeah, I think Al and Chris do a great job. On the radio, you can't beat Rock. You can't beat Rock's call with Wayne when listening to the Packers games. Although, you know, through no fault of their own, they're never going to touch, you know, Jim Irwin and Max McGee. Those guys they are the gold standard. They always will be. Aaron Jones is going to have a monster year. Well, Adam, one would hope. Obviously, he's got to get past that 2-game suspension there at the start of the season. But the big key for him, we've talked about it all summer, is if he can improve in the area of pass protection. If he can do that, if he does that in camp, he absolutely should take that spot over earlier rather than later. Am I crazy to want to trade away 88? No, I don't think you're crazy, but I don't think any team is going to give away anything of significance for a guy who hasn't been able to stay on the field for 16 games at any point in his career. And look, I think he's much more valuable in Green Bay than he will be anywhere else. He obviously knows the system, can play multiple positions. He's on the last year of his rookie deal, so he's on the cheap side. I think you keep that guy around and use him as much as you can. Is Gilbert a lock to make the 53? I don't know about a lock, but I would put him in the good bet category. Anything can happen in camp. Other guys can rise. He could fall. Maybe he takes a step back, etc. But he's close to a lock. I would say that. Devon Howe's the worst defensive back in the NFL. That's a bold call. How much playing time for Tramon Williams? I think he's going to be one of your starters. I think he'll start on one side, and probably Kevin King, though that battle has to play out, will be the starter on the opposite end. But yeah, I think Tramon's in for a lot of playing time. Miller or Micro Beer? James? I don't know, man. Just give me a Wisco Disco. What's up with the secondary pass defense? Benjamin, that's a big question that will begin to get answers starting next week. Clearly, they got a lot of talent and a lot of potential there, but putting it all together and getting it to play up to that potential, that's going to be Mike Pettine's charge going forward. And as I've said several times, I think the biggest thing for the Packers this year on the defensive side of the ball is getting off the field on third down. If they can do that just a few more times, get the ball in Aaron Rodgers' hands a few more times per game, they'll already be so far ahead of where they were the last 2 years. I mean, time and time again. And I've been going back and watching the season again this past week and a half, and there's so many instances where the Packers actually play very sound defense on first and second down, and then they get into third and long, or even third and medium, and they just go totally haywire. Whether it's communication problems, whether it's technique issues, it just completely melts down on them again and again and again. And I think if Mike Pettine can just shore that up, that aspect up, get them playing as a cohesive unit on third downs, he'll be going a long way to turning around the fortunes for the Packers on the defensive side of the ball. All right, everybody, I'm going to have to jump. Thank you so much for all the questions. I'm sorry if I couldn't get to yours. Like I said at the top, make sure you're checking PackersNews.com for all the latest positional previews. Say that 3 times fast. We've got everything you want to know. As I just mentioned, lots of great picks from Randall Cobb's football camp. It was earlier today. Make sure you check that all out. Everything and anything about the Green Bay Packers is there for you at PackersNews.com. Barring any breaking news overnight, I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks a lot, everyone.